other day. And I don't even know, it's funny because I really don't talk about private stuff or things that I got going on with people or like that. But for some reason, I had to tell my boss about something that I needed some time off for. And I ended up talking to another coworker about it, about the situation. And so we're talking about it or whatever, and basically it got down to a point in the conversation where I was like, what she was talking about, I wasn't feeling. And I was like, yo, that sounds like the rat race that you should be striving to get out of. And she was like, it is the rat race. That's life. And I was just so, I ain't gonna say disgusted, but whatever the term would be right before disgusted. And it wasn't in like a uppity or condescending type of way when I say disgusting. It's just the fact of the mindset. Like, people get so used to something that they think is normal. Same reason why people are in toxic relationships, because that's just what they're used to, and they think that it's normal until they experience a more healthier connection, or whether it be just healthier people in general, whatever. And it made me, for a second, and this is why it's a couple of messages that I'm trying to get out right now that I'm realizing in this moment, because I really didn't turn the camera on for no particular reason, but I knew that it was going to kind of become widespread once I started talking. But for one, be careful who you're sharing information with. Now, do I get the impression that she's sending bad energy my way because of the conversation? No, I don't really feel that way. I think she's just speaking from what she knows. That's kind of how I took that. But for some reason now I'm saying, this is why it's so important. And I say that because I started, even though I told her, yeah, that's not really the life that I'm trying to live. I'm trying to stay out of the rat race. Now, I did go back to work because this was part of me trying to rework a plan that failed before. So I'm trying to go about it in a different way, but this time I included work. But I want to try something a little different. And I want to try something a little bit different. But at the end of the conversation, even though I kind of stood my ground during the conversation, because I told somebody else, they kind of insinuated the same thing before me and her had this conversation. And they kind of were giving me perspective from my side of things and from the side of, doing what you got to do, bite the bullet or whatever the case may be. And after talking to this particular colleague or coworker, whatever you want to call it, I noticed that my thoughts had started to change towards me and her last conversation, where I actually started thinking like, well, I could just it's like if I didn't catch myself, it would have been convincing, and the other message that's coming through now is that sometimes you gotta stand on what you stand on, even if you're the only one out there on that ledge. Even if you're the only one that feel like that understand, that get where you coming from, get what you're saying. Because what that means is like, so what's coming to mind now is that the California gold rush. And it was a group from the Midwest. I don't remember exactly how the story went, but basically it was a bunch of people that started rushing over there once they heard, but didn't realize that where they were, I don't know why New Mexico coming to mind, wherever they were at, it was stuff that was already there or something like that. But they all ran over there and left some other stuff open. Now everybody's rushing towards what they're hearing, like, so this could be mass media, mainstream, whatever the case may be. because everybody's trying to strive and go in one particular direction or live one particular type of lifestyle that society might have deemed as appropriate or, you know, beneficial or whatever the case may be. Now, even if your goals are still towards that lifestyle, how you get it might be different from societal norms. Like in today's day and age, everybody uses everybody for their money. It's not a whole lot of people, and it's not to say that it's not a whole lot of people, but you don't hear much talk about who really has the mic the most are the ones that are talking about or giving more and more accolades to people that, now they're not intentionally giving them accolades, but again, it's like if somebody takes somebody else's life and there's some news reporter, you know, some news channels that say we're not going to say their name so we don't want them to get praised or whatever. But a lot of people are being praised for being gold diggers, whether they're men or women, because it really don't matter the gender. Men and women can both be gold diggers, and that stuff is getting praised. Hold on, I gotta back up. They're all getting praised, or that's all the talk. So that becomes a societal norm, just being with somebody because they got money. But we all know that that don't last, because when a person get what they want out of you, they done. And you don't even have to be like in the rich category or the top 5%. It's just if you make more than a person and they not fully, you know, once they over to get what they gonna get, they gone. That's just what it is. But yeah, it's so, you really gotta be careful. Like, you gotta stand on what you stand on. Like the saying go, like if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And just that quick, after talking to two people, my mind, now it's not to say you can't come up with another plan or a strategy, or, you know, take strategies or advice that other people have used. But the fact that they were coming from where I left, what I left behind or I'm leaving behind, even that, knowing that and everything, my mind still started to switch in that direction. Now, are there times in life where sometimes you might have to bite the bullet and be like, all right, this is just a season? Like, yes, there are times like that where you might have to bite that bullet. But sometimes when you're going to a place that you've never been, for one, it's a very mysterious path. You don't know whether what you're doing is working or not. You really don't find out until you either get little signs or get little rewards or recognition, or, I mean, even that sometimes can be tricky. Sometimes that's just more motivation to keep you going. But it's a journey. Like, we don't know how long it's going to be. Like, things can change overnight. It's just a matter of keep believing and keep persevering through. But just that quick, it was like, what if? And I had to catch myself and say, no, this might be a journey. This phase in your life, or this phase on your path, you might be walking it alone. Because if people are still mentally tied to a system that is familiar with them or comfortable for them, and you know you're trying to go to another level or a higher level, it's like, just be quiet about certain things that you got going on. Because for one, people fear what they don't understand. Now, they could be afraid of you, intimidated by you, or the fear might mean that they realize that you're going to you might potentially get to a place that they feel like they can't, even though they could, if they start changing some of their belief systems or their mindset. But I was just thinking about that, like, stand on what you stand on and just stay quiet. Once you peep the people that are around you, like, pay attention to what they talk about, how they think, and then start paying attention to how you talk about yourself around people. Because if you talk down on yourself, like, there's somebody else that I work with, and they don't talk the best of themselves, but they feel like they just being real or honest or whatever. And I see other people that, like, when they're talking to them, they're the person that they clown on. Now, you know, they're laughing too or whatever, but it's like when you look at it from outside of the situation, it's like, yo, whatever you're feeding yourself, people are going to feed you as well. So make sure you have your head on straight. Make sure you focus. Make sure you stay diligent. Like, It might look like you're losing when you're actually winning, because people that's running around and around on that damn hamster wheel look like, oh, they look like they in shape. Oh, they look like they getting money. Oh, they look like this. But they're on a hamster wheel that has no end. Yeah, they look like they got all of this stuff, but guess what? They have to work for the rest of their life to say they bought it. Or they'll have to keep working and maintain it. Or if they want to do something extra, oh, I got to go put more hours in. But you over here, on the other hand, is trying to retire early. You, on the other hand, is trying to leave a legacy behind for your children. You, on the other hand, is over here trying to be a better person on the inside, which means that your outside will eventually reflect your inside. So don't get it twisted. Everybody that look like they have stuff together, most of them do not. And if they do, they are literally burning themselves out to keep it, maintain it, or to attain it. So try to be careful what you tell yourself. And be careful of who you talk to, because you can walk away from a conversation feeling like, you can go into a conversation feeling like you on the mark, you going the right way, and then leave it and feel like a loser, feel like you don't have nothing. Because I've literally experienced people that have tried to break me because they couldn't understand me. But what they didn't realize is that it's almost like when you in a gym, and you got to keep going back and building those muscles. Like, it's not an overnight thing, but eventually, every time you go back, you're building strength, building strength. So the people that tried to say things to break me, and some of which were men, it's like, and some of these were men, like, that was a shocking thing for me. It's like, you going out of your way to say something bad about a woman that's trying, that you've also acknowledged and said you appreciate and all of those things, only to turn around and flip it because you then say, I thought I wasn't good enough, or I felt inferior. It's like, that shit is weak. When you could take all that energy, instead of trying to break somebody or break them down or make them feel less than, that same amount of energy you can put towards your own craft. You can put towards your own purpose. You can put towards your goals. But what they didn't know was kind of like being in the gym. The thing that you were saying to try to break me or throw me off or try to catch me slipping so you could feel like you were getting ahead, you don't even know what you did in the process. That made me better, and that made me stronger, and it made me more determined. But this time I'm doing it, I'm taking the path of least resistance. So while you over there running like the rabbit, I'm over here like the turtle, like, yo, I'm getting there because my faith and my belief says that I'm getting there. I don't have to burn myself out. I don't have to run myself ragged. Like, that's the same mindset I want other people to have. Like, stop giving all the power away to people that are powerless because you think they said something condescending or demeaning to you. Or they don't know how to speak into your situation in an uplifting way, because that's how they talk to themselves. That's how they talk to themselves. That's the person that needs love the most. Because if that's how you talk to another person, what do you think about at night before you go to sleep? Or what vice are you using to find peace? So just be mindful. Like, I kind of went outside of my situation a little bit, but this is why you got to stay focused, because when you get closer, it's going to seem like more challenges is coming out of nowhere. It's going to feel like you going 10 steps backwards every time you think you're getting ahead. All of those things is like going into the gym. You're building that muscle. It takes you, if you notice, you're probably getting over challenges quicker than you did in the past, because for one, you were letting your mind take over too much. You started doing more to come out of it quicker. That burnt you out. You still was in it. Now it's like every challenge you hit, you like, oh, I know how to sidestep this. That's what it's there for. That's just part of it. What happens? Everybody's talking about climbing this mountain, but do you know how thin the area is at the top? But you build up so much resistance because of the climb. Don't let nobody be in your ear telling you you can't do something. I've heard that most of my life, before I even knew that I had a purpose. Before I even knew a purpose was a purpose. Before I knew about destined things, fated things. Before I knew about any of that stuff. People can see it on you. That's why you got to get to know yourself and know what you're about. That way things become a whole lot clearer once you see. And this isn't a bash against my colleagues or anything like that, because I understand that that's just all that they know, and that's fine. But if you stand there and say, I'm going to be the example that gives them gives them to help change the belief, you can stand on that. And sometimes doing that, you going to stand alone. You going to have people want to say stuff to stop you, or whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. Make up your mind. Keep your nose to the grind. Stay focused, stay diligent, stay committed. Sidestep the obstacles, sidestep the power struggles, and sidestep any ego, whether yours, within or without, that try to come up against you. And believe that you can do it. Believe that it is possible. Have faith. The challenge is the sign that you're going the right way. A challenge does not mean you're on the wrong path. It does not mean that you can't do this. It might mean that you need to change your strategy or your approach, or take a break, or recap, regroup, rethink. It could mean that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a no. It could simply be not yet. Talk better to yourself on this journey. No matter what you're trying to do. No matter how big or how small you think it is. If you see a vision, it is yours. And yours alone. And it's yours for a reason. It's yours for the taking. What you do going in that direction is what helps build the momentum to get you there. But you gotta believe.